You're listening to episode 108 of the Small and Supercharged podcast with Ria Freeman. Now, what kind of followers do you want? Are you looking to just get big numbers, or do you actually want the people following you to be genuine and have something in common with you, to perhaps interact with your content, to care about what you're saying, to enrich your life and for you to enrich theirs in some way? And I know that sounds deep, but if you have ever strayed onto how much time you spend on your phone, and side note, I don't look at that anymore, it's too terrifying. You'll know that you spend quite a lot of time looking at your social media, looking at the content people put out there, and also trying to create really nice things that other people will enjoy. Now, if in all this time that you spend on social media, you're trying to get people who really don't care about what you're saying to be interested in what you're talking about, that's a really hard job. A really, really hard job. But actually, if you're trying to create content for genuine and authentic followers, it's a much easier job, believe it or not, and it's actually a much more rewarding job. So today, we're going to talk about attracting genuine followers versus attracting fake ones, and why you really need to focus on the genuine and just not even concern yourself with the fake ones. So when I say fake followers, these are generally people that have got no interest in what you're doing. And often these are the kind of people who come to your account through things like bought likes. Don't do that. When people buy likes. And the thing that's tricky is, I was going to say, when you look down who follows you, you can see some particular accounts are perhaps not your people. And I don't know about you, but I do get some really, really bizarre direct messages from people. Some are very funny, some are quite disturbing, but generally they're quite funny, who are clearly not my people. So when I say fake followers, I'm talking about largely followers who are purchased or gained in a way that they're not real. Or if they are real, they are certainly not interested in what you're talking about. And it can be tempting to go down this route. I can honestly, hand on heart, say I have and never will do this, honestly. Because to me, I just don't see the point. The only point of buying followers is to inflate your ego and to appear bigger than you are to the world. So if you have got, 10,000 followers, that might make you feel really good. And I know when I got to 10,000, I did feel really good. But actually, I felt good because they were genuine followers and I'd worked hard for every single one of those followers. And that's what made it good. If they'd been fake followers that I'd just gone and paid however many dollars and got a few thousand followers, or you can actually pay for likes as well. I saw a video with Sunny Lenarduzzi, who is the incredible, incredible YouTube goddess, really. And she had a dormant account and she ran this test, and it was just a stupidly small amount of money for followers. She ran it to see how it actually worked. And then I think she got penalised for it, as in on the dormant account, because actually that's another side effect of it. So by making yourself look bigger and better, you can actually be penalised by whichever platform you've done that on because of the unusual activity on your account. But anyway, different story. So don't buy likes. Don't worry about the number under your name. Don't worry about it at all, because everybody starts at zero and everyone's account grows bit by bit as they put out content that attracts their target market, that attracts people who really care about what they're doing, about what they have to say, and everything else. Now, it can be hard to attract the right people, and that's what we're going to talk about today. I've got some tips that are going to really help you to attract the right people to your account and to find the right people to connect with. Because although social media on its own is incredible, it allows us to connect with people who offline, in real life, can also add massive, massive value to us in a variety of different ways. So, and again, if you're attracting just big numbers, you might have a huge following of, I don't know, let's say 50,000 people. But if you've bought them all, actually the value they're going to give you is basically nothing, because they're either not real people or they don't have any interest in your account. All it does is look good under your name, but actually your engagement rate will be horrific. And the engagement rate is when we look at how many people are liking, how many people are commenting, how many people are sharing, so i.e. how many people are engaging with our content online. And that is what is actually, in my opinion, the most important thing. And actually, I was speaking to a client a few weeks ago now about a potential opportunity, and the account following wasn't enormous, and it wasn't bad at all, but it wasn't an enormous following. But we looked at it and we completely understood why. But what was really interesting was the engagement rate was actually very, very good, and that completely changed the balance. If they'd had a lot of following and horrific engagement, our initial reaction, well, mine would have been, oh, look at that, interesting following. But then literally the next step, so a couple of minutes after, I'd have been going, hang on a minute, why is their engagement rate so low? And then I'd have dug into that a bit deeper. So the number under your name, it's lovely if it's big, but it's only lovely if it's a big number if it is a genuine number full of genuine people who actually care about what you have got to say and what you are doing. So genuine matters for all sorts of reasons. As I've said, if you've got genuine followers, you are much, much more likely to have a consistently good engagement rate. And just in normal terms, this means that you're going to be putting out content that people actually care about, that people want to respond to, that people want to ask questions about. It means that people will cheer you on when you have a win and pick you up when you've had a bit of a stumble. It means that you can laugh with people, joke with people, and it means that you can use social media to form genuine, valuable, important connections that are going to help you in your actual life, not just through your phone. So I know I say this so much, and I really do love social media, but don't look at it in the bigger way. Yes, it's an amazing tool, absolutely. But it allows us to connect to so much more. So if at the hub of what you're doing, your social media isn't genuine, it's not going to give you any of the amazing opportunities that social media can do. So genuine all the time, please, please, please. Now, when it comes to how to attract your genuine followers, this is obviously a hard process in just buying them. Cheaper, but harder. But that's all we're interested in on this podcast, and all I'm genuinely interested in as someone who advises a lot of people on social media. I just don't see any value in the other sort. So if you want to attract genuine people who care about what you're doing, the first thing you've got to do is make a little pledge to yourself to be you online. And this doesn't mean you have to share every facet of your life, but it means that what you do share is true. Because if you're looking to attract people to you because they like what you're doing, they like what they're putting out, they can relate to you, you need to be what you're saying you are. And I know that can be scary, because if we can put on a facade and we can be something else, if we get any knocks or people are mean to us or people disagree with us, it's easier because we're not actually being us. We're being a facade of something else. But that's not where the magic happens, because if someone does love your facade and does engage with your facade and is excited about this facade you put out there, that's not you, is it? So although these aren't fake followers, you're actually being fake. And as a consequence, you're attracting people that perhaps actually aren't your people. And And you could then get into a bit of a habit of creating content that doesn't feel like it fits you particularly well. And that's much harder to do as well. If you're having to create content that isn't a really good fit for you, it's much more of an effort to think about. It's much more of an effort to produce. So you're kind of setting yourself up for a bit of a failure there. And whether that's in terms of it feels like a failure because you're having to work so hard on content you're not connected with, or just that the views that people are expressing on your account, because that's what you've led them to believe that you think too, aren't actually, they don't align with you. That is quite hard. So the first thing you've got to do if you want to attract a genuine following is you have got to be genuine and authentic yourself. Now, as I said, this doesn't mean you have to share every bit of your life. And I'm not saying that you should share every bit of your life. If you're having a horrifically bad day and you can't even vocalize it, and you don't want to vocalize it, if something personal is happening in your world, or if there are aspects of your life that you don't want to share, that is fine. You don't have to share anything that you don't want to. But what I'm saying with this is that I would, if I'd had a really horrifically bad day, I wouldn't put a story up going, I've had the best day ever, because when people then engage with it and go, oh my God, so have I, that's amazing, all that's going to do is make me feel a whole lot worse, okay? And also from their point of view, I've been really fake. So it's not about lying at all. You can decide what you do and don't share with people, and that doesn't mean you're not being authentic. And I really want to get that across, because I think some people can get the lines a bit blurred and think, well, I don't want to share this. I don't want to share the work I do. I want to share my hobby. Or I don't want to share, in my case, I don't share my children online, which I know if you've listened before, I talk about a fair bit. But that doesn't mean that they don't exist, and I'll talk about them happily. But for me, I don't want to put their faces online. That doesn't mean I'm not being authentic. I'm absolutely authentic in everything I share. But it means that aspects of your life you can keep not hidden, but you just don't have to play everything out in the tiny squares or in the Facebook feed. So just make sure that everything you share is authentic, true, and genuine. And that is going to be the foundation for you to attract the right people. And this is where I'm going to just into why your tribe matters. If you're putting out authentic content, you are going to attract people who really get you, who like your slightly warped sense of humour, who laugh when something goes hysterically wrong in your world, who are there to cheer you on because they know how flipping hard it's been for you to get to that point. They're the people that you want, because the amount of time we spend online, we need to make sure that we are doing things that are positive. I've got one example of this, which is so random, but there's a lovely lady, I'm not going to say who it is because I haven't asked her permission, but she'll know if she's listening, who I chat to online, on Instagram, actually through DMs. She's also members of various groups I do and things like that, so I do know her quite well. And for some bizarre reason, a while ago now, I mentioned something goat related because I'd read a book and there was a hilarious goat thing. And actually, if you've watching the Equiboodle lives, Vic, bless her heart, came up with the saying of "grate my goat," which I think was a mixture of get on my goat? No, gets my goat and grinds my gears or something. I can't remember anyway. And anyway, because someone had watched the live, which was, I'm always very genuine and authentic anyway, but on a live, I think it's very hard to hide for that long. We just got into this absolutely crazy goat conversation, and it was brilliant. It was absolutely mad. But now, because of this, we'll send each other goat gifts and things, and it sounds crazy, and I know it sounds completely mad, but that is actually how you form these connections. This is how, if you're listening to this, not at the time, we're currently in the lockdown phase of the coronavirus. They have started to ease the restrictions, but there's no events and things like that. But when we meet up at an event in the future, and we already know each other really well and we'll have a laugh. So none of that kind of, I'm not sure what that person's going to be like is there. It's not there because I've been myself online, and because this lady is herself online, you can connect with people in a really genuine and brilliant way and, talk goats. So if you are you online, you will attract your tribe, and your tribe are the people who flag wave for you, who show up to lives, who send you random gifts, who mention you in their content because of something you've said or done or some content you've put out. They share a post of yours to their followers because they are supportive of you, and they know that their tribe will love what you're doing because they know their tribe well too. And these people support you, and everyone has a tribe. But if you are authentic and genuine when you're putting your content out, you will attract the right tribe, and that will allow you to grow that tribe and develop that tribe and find this lovely community of people who really, really care about what you're doing. Now, in order to do those things, yes, you have to be authentic. You also need to be consistent. You need to be showing up. And this can be on your feed or grid, this can be in stories, this can be in IGTV, however you want, but you've got to be showing up consistently so people have got the chance to get to know you. It might be that when you show up, you show different facets of what you do. And this also allows people to connect with you on different levels. Maybe you've got a job that someone can go, oh my God, I do that job too. And I've seen some lovely interactions, particularly at the moment actually, on some of my accounts when different key workers actually connect over something. If there's been a post up about obviously something connected to this bizarre situation, and a key worker said, oh gosh, yes, it is really, really strange. I'm a whatever. And somebody else who is also a key worker can interact with that. It's lovely to see those connections there. So as you start to share more about what you do, if you want to, or things that really matter to you, then you're allowing more people to connect with you. So when it comes to consistency, showing up more and more, showing up on a consistent basis allows people to A, get to know you more because you're putting out more content, more thoughts, ideas, more pictures, more views. But it also allows people to get to know that you are reliable, that you do show up, that and I think the power of just being consistent is so underestimated. It's actually, you don't need any special skills to be consistent. You don't need to be a photography whiz to keep showing up. You don't need to be an incredible writer to keep showing up. You can just keep showing up. And by being consistent, you are building that following, you are building that tribe all the time. You're also allowing people to decide that they aren't the perfect follower for you, and that is also fine. Now, there was a brilliant podcast a few weeks ago I did with Lucy, who is English with Lucy on YouTube, and I believe she's just reached 4 million subscribers, and I think she's got well over 200,000 followers on Instagram. Her point is, if people unfollow you, then what they're actually doing is they're going to help your engagement rate, because when you work out an engagement rate, you take into account a following as well. And then you look at the comments, the shares, the likes, whatever, on a post to work out the engagement rate. So if content you're putting out because you're being your genuine self is making people think, perhaps we're not going to get on, perhaps we've got different views on things, and they are unfollowing you, that's going to help your engagement rate. And I think that's actually such a good way to look at it, because I know when a following goes down, you kind of think, oh, come on, I've worked really hard, I've put out this content, I've created this stuff, people have really liked it, and my blooming following has gone down. But these people are helping your engagement rate, and that's brilliant. That's something you want to be nurturing. I'm not saying you should definitely do things to be offensive and make people run for the hills, but it's actually a really positive way of reframing it. And when Lucy said it, I thought, oh, that's just brilliant. I mean, I know with if you switch over to email marketing, so I use MailChimp for my email marketing, and you have brackets that you pay for depending on how many people on your mailing list. And the more people you have, the more you pay. So if you've got people on your mailing list who actually do not care about what you're doing at all and have got no interest in what you're doing, you're still paying to send these people stuff. You'd be better off having a cheaper rate on your MailChimp account, and they will be happier too. So I'm not saying you should go, yes, you should definitely unfollow anyone. I'm not saying that if people should be taking this as, I should just unfollow everybody from now on. Not the case. Follow the things you want to see, because they're the things that are going to be in your inbox and on your feed. So be consistent, show up, give people every opportunity to get to know you better. Whether they decide that your content isn't for them or not, that's completely fine. But you are showing up, being honest, and you're doing that. Show up with quality content as well. So we're showing up consistently, but show up with quality content as well. Do your best to use your images, to use your captions, to use your videos, to give a good representation of you. This doesn't mean you have to have professional photo shoots or that you need to have a film crew following you around all the time. But it just means you're putting out good work. You're trying to capture good imagery. You're trying to get good videos, which gives people a much better chance to get to know you better. If there's a horrifically blurred picture, it's very difficult for someone to translate that's a good thing to be looking at, okay? If it's a really badly written caption, again, people will be looking going, I have no idea what is going on there. So showing up with quality content is going to help you attract the right followers. You shouldn't drive yourself mad with this. You shouldn't go, oh, well, I've got a hair out of place, or I need to Photoshop this, I need to Photoshop that. No, definitely not. But do the best you can. Just think about the quality of the imagery, and there's so many brilliant resources online that can help you improve your images. There's lots of really helpful ways you can help write captions. There's some brilliant video tips. I mean, in May, in the extra group, we had a video focus, and the videos coming out of that were so good. And these were filmed on phones. They weren't done by a film crew, they were filmed on phones, but it was such a great way to see people clearly, to see how they talk, their mannerisms, what they're passionate about. But all of the content was such good quality. It was clear, it was good, and just basic things like making sure your sound is good and you're not in a wind tunnel. I mean, actually, to record this, I just shut a window because I know how annoying it is when I'm doing stories, when I'm walking. If the wind's bad, I just give up now because I hate that blooming sound of the wind in my on my stories and crackling in my phone. So show up consistently and show up with quality content. Now, engage. Engage. If you want to attract genuine followers who engage in your content, you need to be that genuine follower who engages in other people's content. So whether this is people leaving comments on your posts, and not the kind of Bitcoin comments. Do you get those too? Not those ones, they're just so annoying. But the genuine, just mark those as spam, the genuine comments where people are trying to engage with you when they've read what you're saying, they've looked at your picture, they've watched your video, and they're going, yes, I completely agree with that, or you'll never guess what happened to me the other day, or I didn't know that was a thing, how'd you do it? Engage with these people, because these are people who are trying to be your followers, who are trying to be part of your tribe, who are trying to cheerlead for you and want to know more about you and what you're saying. So engage with their comments, and also look at their accounts and leave comments on there. So if there's someone who keeps commenting on your feed a lot with really good comments, go and look at their account. Whether you follow them or not is up to you. Obviously, if you like the stuff they're putting out there, why the heck not? That's what I go for when I follow someone. I like to look at their content and make sure I'm actually interested in it, that I like what they're about, and then I shall follow them and I'll have the joy of seeing them appear on my feed without me having to go and seek them out. But even if you don't want to do that, go to their account, have a look at what they're getting up to. Leave some nice, positive, genuine, quality comments in that too, okay? So that is really important. Do act the way that you would like people to act with you. Go and engage in their comments. And a really good way of looking at this as well is to follow hashtags. So if whatever passion you have, whatever content you like, seek out some hashtags that are relevant and start following them and start engaging in them. You can also go up to the explore area, particularly on Instagram, type in a hashtag and have a look at your top and the recent posts and see what content there is interesting to you. Like that content, engage with that content, look at who's created that content and see if they're people that you want to follow and you want to be part of their tribe. By doing this as well, you're potentially flagging to people who you really like that you exist, because how would they know that if they're not following hashtags or anything like that? In addition to following hashtags, use hashtags, especially on Instagram and Twitter here. Use your hashtags, because again, that's going to help you be discovered in relevant categories as your content gets indexed in those relevant categories. If you are, obviously a lot of people listening to this are horsey, if you're equestrian, seek out those equestrian hashtags. Go and engage with them, and also use them on your own content, because it's going to allow people who are searching for equestrians of Instagram, whatever, to find you, which gives you more chance of attracting genuine followers, because you're labeling your content correctly to allow them to find you. And that is brilliant. So use things like hashtags. Use those tools on the platforms when the hashtags really work well. It's really important to do that. Comment on the things you love. Don't think, oh, well, they've got some comments, or oh, I'm going to be the first one to comment. If you like it and you've got something to add and you've got something to say, whether that's that you love someone's quote, or isn't their horse lovely, or where did they get their bag from, or their shirt's gorgeous, or you're sorry they're having a rough day, or have they tried a top tip, do it. Don't think, oh, well, it's going to look like I'm the one that's commented. Screw that, everyone's got to be the first. Comment on the things you love. Going back to the being genuine and authentic and passionate, don't always kind of check yourself. If you want to act on something, if you want to be supportive, passionate, excited about something, do it. Because think of how much you appreciate it when someone does that to your content. It's brilliant when someone likes what you're talking about and engages with what you're saying. It's just lovely. So think about that as well. Be what you want to see on your account. Comment on the things you love. Be passionate about it. It's really important. I've said here, accept that everyone's not your people. And I think I've got post-it notes. We did cover that earlier, but that's a really important thing as well. By being ourselves, by being authentic and genuine and us online, you can think, oh, but what if some people don't like that? If it's a core value for you, if it's important to you, do it. Because as they get to know you more and more, if it's something that's a real passion for you, then at some point they're going to think, hang on a minute, this isn't who I thought it was. So accept that some people are not going to be your tribe, and that's absolutely fine too. They're not going to add anything to your world if they don't actually care about what you're saying, if they're not passionate about some of your passions at least, if they don't believe what you are talking about, they're not going to be part of your tribe. So don't worry about that. If you put out your actual self online, your actual beliefs, passions, whatever, you are going to attract people with those same beliefs and passions. Don't try and be anything you're not, because whilst this whole podcast has been about attracting genuine followers versus fake ones, it is your responsibility as the account owner, as the content creator, as the influencer, to make sure that you are not being fake, because you will attract the wrong people. And they may not be fake followers and fake accounts per se, but you're not being you're not attracting the right people. If you want to attract genuine, engaged followers, you have got to be yourself. In whatever form that takes. You have got to be yourself. Don't bother being anyone else. It is really, really boring, and we don't need any more clones in this world. We need you. We need you and your unique, random assortment of quirks and goat gifs. If a goat gif is what works for you, turns out it really works for me. That is what we need. Not everyone's going to like your goat gifs. This might be a little quotable, but that doesn't matter, because you don't need everybody in the world to like you. You don't even need everyone on all these platforms to like you. There's over 2 billion users on Facebook. There's monthly active users. Over 1 billion monthly active users on Instagram. Good God, can you imagine the maintenance on 1 billion friends? Good God, it would be impossible. You don't need all these people to follow you and like you. You need genuine people who like what you're doing to follow you. Don't cater to the masses. And the beauty of this is is by really focusing in and being authentic and genuine yourself, you will attract the right people and your accounts will grow in the best way possible with the right people. Because when you connect with the right people, they're likely to be connected to more of the right people, because if they've been themselves too, can you see how it works? The ripple effect, I'm sure this is. It's brilliant. It's poetry in motion. It's what you want from your social media accounts. So, always go for genuine. It's really hard work being fake, and you're not going to attract the right people. And then what is the point in spending so much time on your account if you're not even connecting with people that you want to? Seriously, waste of everyone's time, waste of your time, waste of their time, waste of screen time, waste of battery life, all of it. All of it. Whew. Got a bit ranty there, but I think it's a really important thing. It's important to attract the right people, and it's important to do all we can to make that happen. So that is this week's podcast. I'd love to know what you think. As always, please do screenshot, please share stories, please tag me. I'd love to know what you think. I'd love to actually know what things about your content has attracted people to you. And the crazier, the better. Bring on the goat gifts, I say. But what have you put out and you've kind of thought, and actually you found somebody through that who has got the same crazy taste in food that you have? Or, what? I just love these kind of things because it's how you can connect to people. Also, a little shout out for Extra. I know I mentioned it earlier when we talked about video, but this is my monthly marketing and social media membership, where each month we have a downloadable printable cheat sheet which talks through something really specific. So in May we had video, and the challenge which was connected to that was to create a video. I also released 5 themes inside the group that people could use to make their videos from if they did not have a clue or they were really out of inspiration. And I have to say, I have been absolutely blown away and a little bit emotional on more than one occasion about these videos. They have been incredible, incredible, incredible. And I'm just so really privileged to be able to be involved with these amazing people who are really trying to up their social media game, and for whatever reason, to grow their personal brand, to grow their business, to make sure that their sponsors are being, well served, whatever. It's an absolute privilege and I just love it. We also have a monthly live, which is like a live training session / Q&A. And I'm also going to be releasing 5 social media themes each month that people can use as a little challenge if they want. They can use it when they've run out of ideas during the month, or they can not use it at all. It is completely up to them. But a nice way for people in the Extra group to also connect if they want to. I'm going to put the link in the show notes, but if you whiz over to my website and go to the Work With Me section, Extra is in there, or always feel free to send me a DM with any information that you need. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I hope you're all keeping really, really well during this crazy time. But I hope you're doing really well. And I really do love seeing you online, talking about how important it is to follow genuine accounts. I absolutely love it when I see that you've shared a podcast you're listening to. And isn't that a great way to actually start to communicate with people, to connect with people? Because you're being genuine and authentic and sharing something that you love. How great is that as a means of starting a connection with someone? So basically, the podcast is the embodiment of why it's important to share content that matters to you. Full circle. Thanks so much for listening, and we will catch up next week.